Hi, I'm Stephen McKee. I'm the president and founder of LabTech International, and we're based in the ASEAN countries, in Malaysia and Indonesia and Singapore. And we've been asked to participate in the DESA education show for digital education in Asia. And I've been working in international education for 35 years. The last 25 years our base has been in Southeast Asia. During this time we've seen a tremendous revolution in education. Of course, the main factor influencing all aspects of education right now is digital technology and how to apply this towards learning. And we've also seen a lot of connections between educational development and economic development, particularly in the international arena, where economic development programs are often funded and fueled, and the capacity building element is carried out through educational development programs. And this makes it a very exciting time to be here, and I think this is why DESA is a very important and timely show. As to international case studies of what has been happening in best practices around the world, we're now starting to see research emerge in this area. At LabTech, we've also been participating in this through some of our programs, such as the Student Technology Leaders Program, which uses digital-based, project-based learning in an education setting to try to transform, as one of the tools, education to go towards more student-centric, away from a teacher-centric approach. USAID, the World Bank, Asian Development Bank all have very interesting studies coming out. And I think it's important that we share these case studies from country to country, not just borrow from the West or developed countries, but also find out what's working at different levels of development in different countries, because we see this as a very important exchange of ideas. And then, in terms of the latest technologies that we see, at LabTech we see different patterns emerging in different countries depending upon their stage of development, of what tools that they will use. And, of course, this relates to what infrastructure they have. But once you put in the infrastructure, you're then able to see what digital tools that you can use. One of my favorite illustrations of this is a revised Bloom's taxonomy that shows the learning process transposed with the new digital tools in education. You can see all these wonderful, interesting things that are fun and exciting to use, but the problem is integrating this into the classroom practice in a meaningful way. And I think these are some of the challenges that we're facing in utilizing these latest technologies. And that brings us to social media and in learning process. And one way that we look at this is to characterize how does education come into your own personal digital presence or persona. Almost all young kids nowadays have a digital presence and identity, and they use and express themselves through various programs such as Facebook and the Google suite of various solutions and so many other types of things. But can we blend in the learning process into the social thing? And that's where one of the useful concepts is personal learning networks, is to look at this. And I think that as we fuse the personal, and to be personal and social seems to be inseparable in many ways, especially concerning outside of school activities, but you fuse this into their digital network and identity, and you now have the tools and the basis for sustaining lifelong learning. I think this is a very important aspect of which we can then cultivate. And this is being totally ignored in schools, and for the most part in most countries. So speaking about this, debating about this, sharing these experiences, I think are very valuable to bring these issues up. We need an international dialogue in educational development and best practices about this. And that will lead us towards the next five years. I think that we will see what's happening is a development will progress tremendously. I think these next 5 years will be very exciting in the field of education. Educators typically are focused more on the infrastructure, and we tend to think beyond and what are the next steps, because that's where the problems usually occur. Putting an infrastructure for ICT in schools and countries is not really the problem. The problem is integration into the education system, and that involves two other areas. So you have the infrastructure, but then you have the info structure. These are the programs, the suites, the apps, the applications. Also content, digital content is a big issue. These have to be tackled, and now we see quite a few countries tackling this. But the last area that brings us all together, the third area, and in our point of view the most important, is info culture. How do you use these meaningfully within the educational environment for quality learning and meaningful learning experience? So this is, I think, one of our challenges. We hope at DESA that everybody comes and participates and sees us there. I'll be moderating a couple of panels, and we expect a lively discussion, and through this experience we can help the education system grow throughout this region. Hope to see you all there. Thank you very much.